Welcome to the Toffee TV podcast, episode 24. Baz, Steve, and myself, Ped, in the seat this week. Winter break. Great, wasn't it? I mean, it didn't really feel like a winter break, if I'm honest. Just felt like a international weekend.
Yeah.
What did you want it to feel like?
I don't know. Wintery?
Winter. Well, I mean, Storm Dennis was here. We had Storm Kira and then Storm Dennis. If they stopped naming these things, it'd just be a wet and windy day. You know, I mean, they're made up.
You say that. There's people getting to work in canoes.
No, I know, but there's people who've gone to work in canoes forever.
Yeah.
Just that when he didn't call them names. They just want to, you know, that thing with America that happens there, and we get it 20 years later.
Okay,
That's what it is. Wasn't that good, really, was it?
Stop naming it. Just stop naming it.
Stop giving it a face.
Yeah, you're giving it the time of day. Stop it.
Giving it time.
Yeah.
So
it hangs around more, I find.
Okay, so if we stop giving it the time of day,
yeah, like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
So I don't think weather is self-fulfilling. It's not.
You keep telling everyone.
Hang on. So in your world, right? What we do is we don't tell anyone there's a storm coming, and when their town
it's just a storm.
fills up with water,
it's just a storm, isn't it?
So we don't warn anyone.
We don't need to give it a name. You can just say this weekend
there is actually a reason why they give them names.
Why?
To track them. There's a meteorological
We
reason.
don't need to know it.
Okay, that storm that's coming. Is that what they're just going to say? There's a storm coming.
Just say this weekend, gale force winds, flood warning in effect for this area, that area. Move on.
See, I don't remember them naming storms.
They never did.
20 years ago.
No,
because didn't name them 10 years ago. Didn't name them maybe 5 years ago.
They never used to do the weather a while ago either, but they did.
I mean, they've always done the weather.
No, they haven't always done the weather.
Well, I'm 47 in my
That's
lifetime.
not always, is it?
Yeah, in my lifetime, always.
I didn't say your lifetime, did I?
Was Michael Fish not real?
Well, it was definitely real.
So he done the weather, didn't he?
They've all done it, Steve. They've done it since.
I'm saying, but there was a time.
What about when
cavemen were around, they might have done it,
Fred the Weatherman used to jump?
Yeah.
Let's not talk about Fred the Weatherman, please.
They've done it for years.
Well, they've done it for years, but they didn't always have weather. It wasn't until there was.
Well, we've always had weather.
It wasn't until there was a disaster off the coast of Anglesey by Malfrey that we started getting proper weather reports. That was in the 1900s.
So we've had it in our lifetimes, all of it.
I didn't mention our lifetime.
There you go. So I wasn't going back to the year dot, was I?
It's not the year dot. I know you don't believe in like things like dinosaurs and that kind of thing, but you know, time is a lot longer than what you think it is.
I thought you said time wasn't real.
That's what I'm saying. Time is a lot longer.
So it isn't real. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Time is.
Well, stop quoting it if it's not real.
I'm not quoting it. It didn't.
You just said time four times.
It didn't put a quote out. It didn't leave
four times.
Weatherman didn't leave a statement.
Well, apparently he does, because there's another. Isn't Storm Elsie or something on its way now?
Elsie.
From Dennis to Elsa.
Yeah.
These names.
No.
Blame it on the Weatherman.
Well, he can't. Well, exactly.
Yeah. So is that like the same thing for like diseases that are always in the news? Should we not give them names and just go, there's a bad bug going about?
Well, diseases have always had names.
Yeah. So, but there must have been a time when they didn't have names.
Possibly in like the 1600s. Yeah.
What you mean, like diabetes, just high sugar levels?
Yeah. So it must have been the same. So it's the same with weather, isn't it?
No.
We don't.
No.
See, I think it's better to give the weather a name.
Why?
Than diseases.
Why?
Because I actually think going on the telly and telling everyone about this coronavirus is a load of nonsense. That to me is nonsense.
I mean, sure the Chinese will disagree.
No, but that's fine. In China, they probably not even tell anyone in China.
No,
it's just the flu, innit?
Well, it doesn't matter what it is. The more they talk about it, the more they get people riled up, and for something that simply won't affect them. The weather, on the other hand, in places like poor Shrewsbury, because of poor Bill over there, I mean, his shoes are wet. Come in with wet socks.
He did, but that's because it's raining here.
Well, fair enough. But that actually does have an effect where coronavirus will...
But what difference to the good people of Shrewsbury, and Oswestry and Telford and the surrounding areas?
I mean, they wouldn't say the same about those places.
But, what difference does it make to them if it's called Dennis or if it's just storm, be careful this weekend, gale force winds, flood warning? Because
the reason if you give it a name is you can clarify exactly where it's going. and what it's doing, because you've created.
No, but what difference does it make to the people? The weather people, fair enough, they might want to have the names.
What's the difference between Kira and Dennis?
Yeah.
Well, they're two different storms, aren't they?
A week.
They've both done the same
There's
thing.
about 4 days or something.
They've both done the same thing, though, haven't they?
Well, they have, but you've got to keep people. If you keep people informed, they've got a better chance of protecting their property. Number one, and also by just giving it a name, you are breaking down the idea of having to explain what it is.
It's still a storm.
Think about. Yep, you just said it was a bit
rain.
of wind and rain.
It's wind and rain.
So it's a storm.
It doesn't need a name.
Well, but you've got to define it from one thing to another.
No, the experts, right, who there can define it themselves. They want to call it.
Billy, do us a favour. Find out why they give storms names and come back to us.
To fill a TV slot on the news, probably.
But if they say storm thingo's coming, right, then straight away you're like, we've got to be ready for that.
Why?
Because people's houses are flooded.
Yeah, but if they say there's a storm coming anyway at the weekend, why does it need a name?
Yeah, I'm with Baz on this one.
Because there are meteorological reasons why.
We'll find out in a minute.
That's what I'm saying. The reason they have names, I believe, is so they can isolate them and then they can track them.
Well, of course they're going to track them.
So when they put them on telly, it sounds better if it's got a name.
There you go.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Done, job done.
So it's the
so
same.
It's superficial for the telly.
Well, of course it's not. It hasn't got a T-shirt saying my name is Irene on it.
Says to avoid confusion and streamline communication.
There you go. That's exactly what I've just said. That's exactly what I've just said.
Well, it's a load of nonsense because Kira's not still sat in Shrewsbury in the McDonald's with the MILFs, is it?
No,
waiting
but if I said
Dennis has bounced
But if
through.
I said I'm joined
hang
on the
who's he? Hang on, is it Kira or is it Dennis?
If I said I'm joined on the podcast by Man 1 and Man 2, it might be hard to define which one of these it is.
Not really.
I mean, obviously we know Steve because he's got that slight Arrow Park twang about him.
And
so,
he did come in a mask.
He did. But no, that's fair enough. But I mean, the way you're sounding, honestly, you've gone full Noah. And you should never go full Noah. You don't want to tell anyone about the floods because you just think it's going to sweep away the old bad people.
The what?
Full Noah.
I honestly, you've lost me now. You've finally happened. It's finally happened. 8 years of trying. It's finally happened.
But going back to winter break,
it's
not cold anyway, is it? It never gets cold now.
I don't think it's been.
I mean, it's literally 4.5 degrees today.
That's not cold. That's not cold.
Feels chilly.
When was the last time you had to put a proper big coat on because it was cold?
I've put it on a few times.
I don't think we've had
that. Just not for the
I don't
rain?
think it's been colder.
No, it's not been cold.
Like
But anyway, that's not the reason for the winter break. The winter break.
We've got the winter break,
and
it was good. It was all right.
Do you think it's made any difference?
I'll tell you at 6 o'clock on Sunday, or 6:30.
No, I mean, to the teams you watched over the weekend, maybe who might have played, and
I didn't watch state.
No, but one thing I noticed was there was actually a lot more injuries from teams coming back from the break. A lot of knocks picked up straight after, during the game and after the games as well. So it makes you think.
We've said before, and you'll have heard it because we've done it on the lives and stuff, is that the time for a winter break is in the middle of December. Is in the middle of a load of games, a ton of games. It's not when they've all come and gone and January's gone and then throw it in the middle. Just reduce the games over Christmas. Play Boxing Day, play New Year's Day. Don't play any other time.
I wouldn't even play New Year's Day.
Well, I wouldn't. To be honest,
I'd just play Boxing Day and then come back on
when we played Arsenal. For me, Everton wouldn't have played again then till the FA Cup third round. There wouldn't have been any games over Christmas. But it's not going to happen because of the money.
The TV.
The TV. Or do what they've just done this week, play half the games on Boxing Day and the other half the games on New Year's Day. And that way you're still getting the league programme. But again, they won't do that because people
the games on New Year's Day, I've never been less interested to watch football in my life.
No, terrible.
Everton were playing Man City, honestly. I watched the game, but I actually was glad when it was over. Because I was like... I just don't get New Year's Day football.
The problem is what I find
terrible to watch as well.
There's just games. There's game after game after game. They'll stagger them, so you've got games on the 26th, 27th, 28th.
Yeah.
We played on the 26th and the 28th. There was then games on the Sunday, games on New Year's Day, then the Wednesday, then the Thursday. You just can't be bothered with it. It just becomes. It gets in the way. You become jaded with the football, and
that's us.
And that's just us. Yeah,
the players are dropping like flies. They're always They are always.
And look at Newcastle, 4 plays in one game.
The quality suffers as
That's
well.
the-
It's supposed to be like, but I suppose from their point of view, the way they look at it is what when teams are jaded, then you start getting unexpected wins and losses, and then that allows the table to have a bit of a mix up. And you could probably say that we may have benefited from that. Maybe you don't know because, but
I've got no problem with a winter break.
No,
They just need to do the winter break at a different time. It's a bit too late for me.
Yeah. We had 9 games in December.
Yeah.
You know, and there was a lot in January, and you just think of teams who were playing, who had those games. Then there was 4 teams playing 2 semi-finals as well, on top of everything else in January. Villa, Leicester, City, United had extra games.
Yeah.
It's just that the quality's crap, like
And
you
the
said.
crowds actually went down.
The crowds went down, and the other thing is you become less interested because there's so much. Do you know what I mean? I always think
it's because one of the big parts as well, though, and I think this was one of the big reasons for Christmas football or whatever. But you used to have a society that a lot of people had time off over Christmas, so going to football was a big thing. Now we live in a 100-mile-an-hour society. Now people don't have time to have off. You know, we know what 9 to 5 jobs Monday to Friday becoming a lot more rare. People don't get that break, so don't get the time for leisure over the Christmas break. So people are going to have to choose now. It's mad. Every year you do when you go into Christmas, when you're like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to see that person. And by the end of it, that week, you're like, you haven't done any of those things. No. Not anything. I've spent a few days with the family or whatever, but I haven't done any of those things. So the idea, like you said, of having a game on New Year's Day and things like that are just mad.
I honestly
mad. So I'd love them to bring that in, but they won't unless TV ratings.
Got no problem with Boxing Day. Boxing Day's fine. But
I don't even like the Boxing Day game, to be honest with you.
I don't.
Yeah,
That's
I
Christmas.
think it's more for like families who might want to take the kids on Boxing Day type of thing more than anything. That's how I look at it.
I'd love nothing better than to just
me too.
say goodbye to footy for a week.
Me too, mate.
Christmas, the last Saturday before Christmas, then till or whatever.
Yeah.
Have a good 10 days without Everton playing and just enjoy Christmas, and then by that time you're excited again, you're ready to go again, and it's like, come on, you know, I'm chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
Boxing Day, you've had Christmas Day, and then it's like, Everton are playing. This year, we was trying to just enjoy the Burnley win. We were playing, like, we coming here on the Friday, we were playing again on the Saturday.
Newcastle.
You know, and Newcastle had it even worse, really, because they played at R5 on Boxing Day, so they were away at United, so they had even less time to recover than us. Now, okay, that benefited Everton by about 4 hours, but whatever. But just as a spectacle, I remember last year when we played Leicester on New Year's Day at home. It was honestly one of the worst games of football I've ever been to in my life. It was horrific. Well, my lad was the mascot, and my missus doesn't ever go. It was the first Everton game she'd ever been to.
Yeah.
And we went, and she'd never want to go again. It was horrific.
Shot on target.
It was pathetic. There was one shot on target, I think, and Vardy scored.
Yeah,
that was it. John Joe Kenny at the bar in the first. That was the only thing that happened. It was terrible.
Yeah,
Everyone was bored. And the other thing you find as well, like, there's loads of people around. You see blue sheets all over the place at Christmas because people just can't get there on Boxing Day because of whatever. And it's like, Goodison's always full. You see it at all of the grounds. There's gaps everywhere because people are like, how can I travel there? Or imagine, you know, we know certainly in this city, a lot of people come over from Ireland for both Everton and Liverpool, and you're getting a flight over on Boxing Day and stuff. Just swerve it. No. Just take one of the games out at least and let everyone just breathe over Christmas.
28th one's got to go.
Germany's got it right.
Germany have got it right.
As always.
Well, yeah. Kel surprise.
They've got it. So one of the things that has happened in the last few days is this ban for Manchester City from UEFA, FFP, breaching the rules of FFP. It's going to be very, very interesting because I know this does affect us. Let's be right.
Yeah.
This does affect Everton because obviously we've heard it in the last 6 months or so when we're trying to buy players. The word FFP keeps on coming up. It's like one of those words that you shouldn't need to know what it is, but it's become so part of the football language now. You shouldn't know what it is really, but it has become a big thing. And Man City look like they're going to fight the ban. 2-year ban, 26 million?
30 million. 30 million euros.
30, yeah, so 26 million.
26 million.
I didn't need to go to Thomas Cook to work that out, but not that there are any Thomas Cook. They've gone.
Steve goes on holiday, so he'll know all about it. It's a travel company just on his own right there.
There you go. I mean, if you told me, I would have plugged your travel company, but there you go. So they've got a big fine, but it's going to be so interesting in the next 3 months what happens with this, because I genuinely think them hitting City could literally change the face of football going forward in terms of the rules, because I can only see one outcome if City really get their teeth into this.
Yeah, for me, there's no way. It's really interesting because if it stood, then obviously fifth place becomes the Champions League place, and that potentially could benefit Everton. European football could benefit. It could go to, well, it will go to eighth, right? So essentially that would benefit Everton. But the other side to that is, the interesting thing is, it could blow the UEFA could rue the day they decided to take Man City on, and what I mean by that is, you're going up against a very powerful organisation in Manchester City. It's a country, let's have it right. And
sovereignty.
How can you... I remember when FFP was first muted, right? And I'll be honest, I was all for it.
Yeah.
Because what I thought it'd have a different... A little bit like VAR.
Why do we keep on trusting people in football?
This is the problem. Is that you trust... You look at it and go, well, I agree with something that tries to make everything fair, right? Same with VAR. I agree with things that try to make football better. The same with goal line technology. I was made up when that come in. Took away all the arguments. If the referee's thing buzzes, it's a goal. End off. You can't argue. Thought VAR would be like that. It hasn't been used properly. No, it's not VAR. The people doing it haven't done it properly. And FFP was kind of the same thing. I was hoping we'd get a more fair... fair. It's the kind of the clues in the name. I thought everybody get a little bit more of a level playing field. I remember having this conversation when it was coming in with a couple of people who were involved at Everton, doing the stuff, and they were like, if this comes in, it's actually the worst thing. And I was like, no, because it'll help. And they were like, no, what it'll do is exactly what it's done, is it'll pull a ladder up and leave everybody else behind. It only benefits the teams who are at the very top now with all the lucrative deals. And that's how it's played out, and it's got worse. And UEFA let's have it right, they don't like Manchester City because of the power that they have with the money. They don't. Platini started all this. They don't like PSG because they've got the same thing. And yet the irony of the whole thing is, this has been happening forever and a day. Manchester United spending whatever. Liverpool are getting investigated now as well. I think that's gone under the radar a little bit. That Liverpool can be hit with this. They've had record losses.
I think there'll be a lot of teams now looking.
But a lot of teams are going, oh, I'm going to say this actually affects us. So I think Man City, from what's really interesting, this is the longest answer ever, sorry.
Fine.
What's really interesting is when this started a few days ago, people were like, about time as well, hit them hard. And as it's gone on, and other people are going, hang on, that spotlight's coming towards us. People are now going, this will be for the better if City win it. There's been a real shift in attitude. So I think it could be, I've seen it today, it could be as big as the Bosman ruling.
I just think with the whole dynamic of the situation now, it's just they've took on the wrong club, in my opinion, for one, to try and make an example of, because they
normally save that for us,
wouldn't they? That's what I mean. And you look at the people who run Man City, what's his name, the Fardoom, is it, the chief executive? Like
Kelly
Muldoon, he seems like he's the type of guy who's got his he's not the type of person I don't think would put Manchester City in that position, maybe, of where there would be a problem in the future. I just think there's too clever people around the club.
Cheap man, sure. Look at the wealth of it.
And I just think, why not? Why have they not made examples of other teams who've done it? But it just.
Paris Saint-Germain had and Man City.
Galatasaray, PSG.
City have been put.
PSG and City had their squads.
They had the squads reduced to 23
Milan
players.
Got banned.
Milan were banned.
But all three have been appealed.
But the thing with City is, and this is what I find really interesting, I think they've took it really like they knew it was coming, and they were very calm, and they've already been planning for this. And I think that's where I think football has got to be ready for this, because I can see a big change coming. I just can't see. See, this is the interesting thing about football is, it's like when anything happens in life in terms of law, whether you appeal, if you get done for anything and you appeal it, it takes time and it gets dragged through the court. The thing about football is you haven't got time to drag things through the courts in football because we've got to the season.
The competition's so powerful,
and you can't stop. You can't stop a competition, but the law dictates that if you're in an appeal phase, you are innocent during the journey. And funny, I mean, the thing that keeps it sounds stupid, but I was watching a documentary on Netflix about a guy in American football who got done for murder. And he but he appealed it, and when he was on appeal he killed himself. The law said that he was innocent. Like, that's how mad law is. They actually changed the law after him, but that's how mad law is that you're innocent when you're on the appeal. So I can see City grabbing this and throwing everything at it, and I really hope they change FFP and get rid of it. Now, that's not me saying that the football clubs should have rich football clubs should have the power to just do what they want and go out there and spend all the money. I believe there should be a salary cap, but the salary cap should be even for everyone. It should be the same figure for everyone. And then people will go, well, that won't stop anything because Man City and Paris Saint-Germain have got all this money and we haven't. So what? That's life. That's the way football's always been.
It's what life is.
That is
life.
And that's and this is not. And that like
if you're sat around, if you're sat, you could be sat in a bar with three fellas, and one could have £100 million in his bank account, and one could have 100 grand, and you might have 10 grand, or you might have 100 quid. You've all got the same opportunities to get that money. All right, the fella with 100 million can buy whatever he wants. You can't, but that's life. But that's not saying that you couldn't do the lottery stay, or someone who you've met has left you with 50 million quid, and then all of a sudden you're that person. But by saying, well, hang on, that fella over there with 100 million, he's allowed to do what he wants. But you know what? There's a lot of money here to give you, Steve, but I can't give you it because it's not allowed. That means that you're never given that same opportunity that fella's given.
But if there is a ceiling, then you know it can't go absolutely mad. And I think that's the way it's got to be, because at the moment, like you said previously, you've got clubs. Money there's always different places with money. You know, we go back 15 to 20 years ago, it was Chelsea coming in, and okay,
and he was able to do whatever he wanted.
He built Chelsea from nothing to something very, very quickly.
Paris Saint-Germain just done it.
And City.
You know,
City were in the bleeding playoff 10 years ago, or a bit longer, 13 years ago, weren't they? 12
Finished 14th the year.
So why can't anyone else do that? You know what I mean? Blackburn won the league in 93 on the same model. Sorry, 95 wasn't it? On the same principle. Was exactly the same thing. Local man, made good, spent his money on his football club. That's his right. They go and get all the best players. But how long did it last for? It lasted for 1 year. You know, when we
got Newcastle, Freddie Shepherd, but the only reason why they were in the Champions League for a few years was because Freddie Shepherd ploughed money in Manchester United.
John Morse did it to us.
He did the Mersey millionaires.
The Morse family did it for Liverpool.
And the same.
It happens, and I just think that what FFP is trying to create actually is a monopoly. It's trying to create a artificial Super League. It's trying to get. You know, we've done this on the footy show. We did it early when the Champions League this year. Every club that is in the last, who's in this round now, are all from the top 5 leagues in Europe. So already you're streamlining. Already you're saying they're going to be the best of the best. Why? Because all the other clubs can't afford it. They can't break the monopoly. So for us, we're sitting here and we're going. Every week we're always having a laugh about Megaphone and having a laugh about USM and all this. These are the things we're having to do or try and do, even though we've got money. We keep on talking about FFP, where okay, we've been poor with money, but that shouldn't hinder us going forward. You've got to still be responsible and have responsible spending, but it shouldn't hinder you trying to be better. Because
City had Shinawatra in 06, right? He come in and he spent money. Remember, they bought Boyan, what's his name? But the kid from the Bulgarian striker, he done his knee, and anyway, they bought Bosyanov, they bought all of them, Milano, they had all of that early bit of money with Shinawatra. They spent 60-70 million at a time, and that was quite a bit of money. Spent that on different players, and you know, it didn't work, and then he sold it to Sheikh Mansour, and he come in. So they'd already started the process of just spending money, wasting money a bit like we did, because you're trying to jump 3, 4, 5 steps quickly. Mansour comes in, gets Rubino, spends ridiculous amounts of money, and then people start. Don't forget this law. Certainly things like the short-term cost control and FFP are only coming in 2013-14. That's when it started, which is hence why, you know, the backtracking now saying, well, hang on, this was broken, this rule, Liverpool have broke this rule and things, or 2012 onwards.
Look at the person who brought it in, that's what I always say.
But
look what he's been done.
Well, exactly, he's been, exactly. And I remember him saying, we will go to war with the Premier League teams to get this.
Trying to break up.
He didn't want it. He didn't want that, but teams like, I mean, Barcelona and Real Madrid are held up, you know, as they're the great team. Real Madrid got a training ground bought for them for 500 million when it was worth 4 million or something. That's what the Spanish government gave them for a training ground and built them this.
And they remortgaged the stadium
the thing. Every year. They spend whatever they want. Barcelona are exactly the same. Yeah. It's all, you know, we do this and we do that. So already they've allowed this monopoly to be created. All through life, there should be nothing in place that says, say Everton, because it's our club and we're talking about it, Alisher Usmanov should be able to turn around and go, I want into Everton and I'm going to give them 400 million this summer. I've got the money. I'll underwrite it. 400 million to go and do what he wants, which is what he wants to do and what Mashiri would like to do. Only we can't. So we face the way the rules are at the moment this summer, needing to sell to buy probably in terms of, not because we need to generate money to bring, because we haven't got it. We've got a big bleeding silver briefcase full of it, but because it doesn't satisfy the Premier League rules or FFP. So they want to see players sold before you... Oh, where are you getting that money from? Well, we should be able to go, see these two fellas here who own us. That's their money and they're underwriting it. So it's not an issue. And then it's up to them to responsibly govern the club then. That's what it should be.
It was like what Carragher said the other night. He said, how are Everton ever meant to get as big as Liverpool when they're not allowed to spend what they've got? He said, what Everton fans meant to do, sit there and watch Liverpool be successful for the rest of their life. Because, let's be honest, off the pitch, there's probably only 2 clubs in England who make massive money off the pitch, in Man United and Liverpool. The rest do all right, but not them two.
Not as well as those.
They're not global brands.
They're not global brands. Chelsea...
And those global brands, by the way, they've been global brands
for a long time,
since the 70s and 80s. This is not a new thing. So what it does is that never goes away. Your support never goes away, and that's what it's based on. And that there's no other club we can't turn around and go, we've got this worldwide fan base that we can rely on to bankroll us. Liverpool can. And that's why they've not been so dependent. They can get massive deals because they've got those fans out there. That's why the likes of Nike and stuff are being attracted to them. But don't forget, didn't John Henry give them an interest-free loan for the stand?
But he's put 400 million in as an interest-free loan.
So exactly. And the mad thing about it is this.
And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. That should be fine.
He shouldn't.
But I'm just saying that.
But what's mad is this has only all come to light because the hacker. Found it all and give it to Bill. Now he's in jail, which I don't really agree with either, because you know, if we've got whistleblowers out there, they should be allowed to do their job, especially when it's sensitive information that the public should know about. But
could he just not have hacked other clubs first? Well, but anyway,
but surely Man City, as you said, have got the power to go, well, hang on, it was hacked illegally, so therefore 2 wrongs don't make it right. So that's their first thing. But I hope they generally don't. They don't just like get off with it. I hope they smash the system.
Well, I think Dave said the statement is we're ready to do an explosive approach. I think that will prove that FFP is illegal.
I think you can tell by the amount of time it's took them to release a statement. It's nearly a week now. What was it, last Friday? It's Wednesday today, so they've obviously looked over a lot of things the last couple of days and thought, this is how we're going to approach it.
They're piecing it together.
Because I think I read the guys wanted to say something 5 minutes after.
I think they've just let it all settle down, let everyone else talk about it, and then come out when it's a little bit quieter, so their message gets across a little bit better. And I think
it's very interesting they've done it on the week of the Champions League.
But that's also what I said, though. That when it first comes out, the narrative is hit them, if they've cheated, do this, do that, do the other. Got Steven Gerrard saying, well, you know, they need to be investigated because that means I win the league then in 24, which he didn't, because he still didn't get more points than them. And now the narrative has started to change. That's what I've just said. So they've been clever, because now it's gathering support. Whereas if they'd have come out and made a statement on the day, a big statement about it, and this, that, and the other, people would have been like, you've been found. Now people are kind of going, actually, I hope that they smashed them, and they will do. It'll be. Everyone said Bosman couldn't win when he went, and it's because it's whether or not. There's a thing of saying these are our competition rules. Right, we were talking about this yesterday, I think, and you sign up to that. I think on the Premier League, so we were talking and going, well, you sign up to those, so you kind of agree. But if it's illegal, once it goes into a court of law, that's when the legality of these things come out. So if Man City prove that it is illegal in that, because it's a restriction of trade.
What I would say as well, City are saying that they haven't actually done anything wrong. So they're not even saying that FFP is wrong.
Isn't it due to an email?
They're saying they haven't done anything wrong. So it's going to be dead interesting. And but do you know what the big thing that's come out of it is that, and this is again why it should be knocked on the head, is this season proves more than anything that it's nonsense. Liverpool are 25 points clear of a club that's got endless pots of money. Football doesn't work with whoever's got the most money wins the league. It helps, it puts you up there, but it doesn't. It's no guarantee, absolutely no guarantee that you can keep players happy. You can keep you can keep players fit. The manager might decide doesn't want to buy this extra player for whatever reason, and then you get a terrible spate of injuries like Man City have had, which is essentially what's given Liverpool the league. Let's be honest.
Look at Real Madrid with the Galacticos. They had all the best players and win the league. They weren't great.
No,
were they?
It's no guarantee. You can get you a great set of players, but it's no guarantee.
I think it might prove as well the last 2 years why City haven't spent that much money either. I think the last 2 seasons they've only spent 50 and 59 million.
But I think
so
also
they spent 50 on
net.
No.
Last summer they bought Mahrez for 76 alone, didn't they? So they did.
That's compared to summers gone by where they were spending
maybe
3
Man City also they've had this thing. Don't forget, Man City don't buy stars. They make stars. They buy players generally just before maybe Aguero would be the but they genuinely go after players before they absolutely explode. They didn't go to Barcelona and try and get Messi. They haven't gone to Real Madrid and tried to buy anyone. They didn't go to Juventus and bring Pogba. They go and try and get players who are
just about
to they become stars at Man City more than anything else.
They wouldn't go to 75 million for Van Dijk.
They're not the biggest mistake they've ever made.
The dickheads for not doing it, but they wouldn't do it because it's more, they do have that kind of thing of like, well, is it?
Well, they went and got Laporte instead, didn't they, for 50?
Yeah, but when you've got money, the biggest thing to do is, and Everton didn't do this, hence why we're still struggling now.
Yeah.
You have to it's great having all the money, but there has to be a value attached to the money, and so you have to still have that and look and go, is that player worth? Will Sahar in the summer, for argument's sake, Everton wanted him, that would have blitzed our FFP if we'd have got him, if they'd have agreed it, but Everton wanted him. They wanted 80 million. Everton could have afforded it because they've got the money there, but looked and went, it's just not worth it. It's too much money. And the clubs have to always keep that in mind. But obviously, what's mad is that now what you're getting is the amortisation of contracts and stuff, so it shouldn't really matter. So you should be able to, Everton this summer should be able to go and, I don't know, say Rabiot, Juventus wanted to sell him and he was 80 million. Everton should have no issue getting him and going, well, we'll pay Juventus 20 million a summer. Over 4 years, the length of his contract, they'll get the 80 million. That's how we pay for it, and that's what's shown in the book. So instead of 80 million, it's shown as 20 million, and you've got that spending thing. That kind of thing, I kind of agree with.
Football, I think there's bits out of FFP you can take, and if football, if clubs themselves say we have to have a better working practice, we have to not be in debt to the best we can.
Yeah.
But if we want to go and buy someone, that's on us because we'll just get an interest-free loan off our owner. And we'll sort it out when it needs sorting out. And that for me is that's having that responsibility, isn't it? But then how many clubs are going to stick to that when it comes to winning things? But then that's just the way it is.
But the thing is, we've seen a club go out of business a couple of months ago, so it obviously isn't making a difference at the lower levels as well, is it? Because you're seeing more clubs now being threatened to go under than you were once when
Well, if
FFP was going. And sorry, go on.
No, go on.
And you'd see Macclesfield struggling to pay the players. Bury went no longer. Nearly happened to Bolton, who were in the Premier League 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's obviously not working in every level.
Let me just say this, Steve, because you're absolutely right. So when a club, let's say Everton, in January, they're looking at a player who plays for a League One team.
Yeah.
They go, we want, okay, so we brought Branthwaite in, but let's just say there's someone else, and Everton are like, we need a backup left back. That kid over there, £3 million. If it doesn't work out, we'll get rid of him in the summer, and we'll get our £3 million back. And then they go, no, you can't have him, because you take that £3 million out, you're £3 million down on your FFP or whatever.
Can't spend
so
it,
suddenly you're not taking risks
Yeah.
on players for like £3 million, because you're like, we need that £3 million. That £3 million and his wages, once it hits the FFP and start messing up, the way they mess up, it has to like all has to be properly calculated. They'll go, no. So those teams so no one's taking risks on those players. I know that's a larger conversation which goes all the way back to Bosman about buying players from abroad or getting them cheaper, but no one's taking risks on players anymore. There's no point. There's no point. What we'll do is we'll just wait to see if one of our kids makes it instead, which is probably for the better. But that whole pyramid is getting thrown into disarray, and all it's going to end up with, if FFP stays in place, for me, all I can see is the big clubs ironically just saying, we don't want your rules, we're just going to go and start our own. It'll be the only excuse they need to start the Super League. Loads of them have been chomping at the bit for ages anyway. The likes of Paris Saint-Germain have been chomping at the bit because they're cruising through the French league. They get to Europe normally around this stage, and they fall flat because the players are not at it. And
a lot of the bigger clubs have already even had discussions about the Super League as well together. Like, I know Liverpool got mentioned, I think Arsenal got mentioned as well. So
if there's money to be made, they'll want to go and do it. And if you're restricting clubs, then why will clubs want to adhere to your rules?
I know we were saying the other night, about if they ever left the Premier League, it's like, whatever. Like, I know the standard might not be as great, but like I was saying the other night, is it that great now? No. How many world-class players could you probably name?
Crap anyway. They've got a team that's 25 points clear.
Probably not helping that, because English teams probably aren't attracting the players they were 10, 20 years ago now.
Well, we'll put it simply, you've got all the same teams up there. I know there's been a bit of a variation this year, but it'll all fall back into place. Yeah. But a club like us, if we're trying to compete with let's say we're trying to compete with Man City or whoever, and we're trying to get a player, and we go, we can guarantee you first team football, no problem. Can they? And they go, well, maybe not. And then the wage comes up, and everyone go, well, we can't offer you the wage simply because of FFP, not because we haven't got it. And one of these other clubs can go, well, we can because we've got a 75,000 seater stadium or whatever. So straight away, you're limiting yourself. It's just nonsense, absolute nonsense. And then the talent doesn't get moved around. It all goes to the same clubs all the time, and all it is a monopoly. If people can't see that, then, well, to be fair, I think there's only one club who can't see it, if I'm honest. And if they wanted to buy a big player for big money, then
it's just not fair. It's just, like you saying about Accrington and Stanley, like for teams like Accrington, Stanley, or whoever in League 1, League 2, it gives you no hope really as a fan to think, oh, we might reach the Premier League.
Because the thing about that as well is, if you're a club like that, you're just thinking, is it worth taking that risk now? Yeah. We'll go out of business if we try and push on now. Unless you get a really good crop of players who can push you on, it's not going to happen. And
then you've got no hope of an owner coming in, a local lad owner, who can put money in and give you the leg up because of FFP. Because if you can't prove how you can make that money, then you're not allowed to put it in. It just
makes me think how clubs like, I look at like Wolves and how much they've spent. It makes you think, how are they? Well,
they won't, because
how are they doing it? You know what I mean?
But that's a clever account, but that makes me laugh. You've got an agent who puts players into a club that's in the Championship.
I mean, he was
the top players because he's part of it.
Wolves done the deal for Fernandes to Man United.
Yeah, it's just all
because there was talk of a United player would then go on loan to Wolves because of it.
I think if this continues, all that'll happen is, as I mentioned, we'll get a Super League, and at the flip side of that, we'll either get clubs going bust, or we'll get big clubs buying little clubs. Yeah. So that they can stockpile players into them and work the FFP round that way. It's all a nonsense. It's all the same. It's all for the big clubs.
It's gonna be dead interesting to see what City do.
Smash it a bit. Smash it. Anyway, coming up in part 2, we'll be discussing the weekend's fixture against Arsenal down at the Emirates. Thanks for downloading the Toffee TV podcast, but did you know we put all our shows out as podcasts? Head over to patreon.com/Toffee TV EFC and you'll find all the latest shows available as podcasts exclusively for Patreon subscribers. So if you need to find all the latest Everton news, conversations, stats, match previews and match reviews as easily downloadable podcasts at your convenience, head over to Patreon. Welcome back to the Toffee TV podcast. Everton actually have a game this weekend away to Arsenal at the Emirates. I know, Baz, you've been massively impressed by Mikel Arteta.
Oh, Baz loves Arteta.
Absolutely on fire, this guy.
Yeah, superb.
How many wins has he got, Baz?
He's done well. Got a second win, didn't he, of his managerial career the other day. Something Ancelotti had in 2 days, wasn't it?
Not a fan of him, man, no.
Listen, he's alright. I'm not a fan of Mikel Arteta. He's alright. It surprises me how his behaviour at the end is massively overlooked by Evertonians at Berserk. But listen, I'm sure he'll turn out to be a good coach. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know what you want me to say.
I want you to say what you say off camera about Mikel Arteta.
I'm not a fan. There you go.
Okay, fair enough. Arsenal fans seem quite happy though, which is
strange.
No, I mean I don't think it's strange. I think wouldn't say I'm worried about Sunday, but I'm not. I think that it is a good chance to break the hoodoo that is down there in 1996 since we won at Arsenal. But I'm not thinking it's just going to be a straightforward game, because I think what's happening with Arsenal is they're improving bit by bit, and I think the fans are enjoying it because they can see something tangible happen on the pitch. I know the results haven't been. They've had a lot of draws.
Yeah.
But it feels they do. It seems to me by watching a few clips and stuff that they feel like they're in together. And I think where we've got to be clever on Sunday is that we don't fall into either a false sense of security or just, I don't know, if the game's flat, we've got to be a bit more proactive, I think, because I think they are the kind of team, and I think they showed this on Sunday when they beat Newcastle, but even when the game's flat and they look poor, they do have people who can hurt you, and I think for them it's about getting more out of those players, and I think we've got to be very, very careful with that, because I don't think we can play like we have the last two games and expect to get a result at somewhere like the Emirates. I think we've got to go up a level and cut out all those silly mistakes that either we got punished for at Watford but redeemed, or didn't get punished against Crystal Palace. So I think we've got to go up a level, but we're going to have to go up a level in the next 4 games, because it's crucial we get something out of these games if we want to qualify for Europe.
Definitely. I think going back to what you just said there about the fans, and I noticed a big change in them when they got a point away at Chelsea. I think it was away at Chelsea, and they were down to 10 men, and it seemed like they're giving this manager a bit more of a bit more leeway compared to what they were with Emery, because his football was they classed as negative. But I think we need to start quick. They've got a game tomorrow as well in the Europa League, so it depends whether Arteta will go full strength in that, which I imagine he will, because it's probably their best way of qualifying for the Champions League as well. But we need to come out firing straight away, on the front foot, press high, and just got to take our chances when we get them, because when we've gone to those places in the past, we haven't really had the chances to take them. I don't really fear Arsenal as a team. I look around and think there's probably only a handful of players who maybe get into Everton's team. Probably the front two, Lacazette and Aubameyang. Because like Ped was saying there on Sunday, they were awful first half, dreadful. Newcastle played really well. Don't get me wrong, first half, but they should have been out of sight. Arsenal first half, but then second half, cross comes in, Aubameyang goal, and it's game over early then. So it'll be interesting to see how we approach it. Will we go for them, or will we try and sit back and hit them on the counter?
Yeah, listen, they've got match winners. They've got the front two are brilliant. Lacazette and Aubameyang are brilliant. Pepe's got quality. if it happens for him on the day. Mesut Ozil has got, you know, if he fancies it, and he normally fancies it at the Emirates more so than away from there. They've got that ability. I'm not looking at it going, this is an easy game, because it's at Arsenal, like you just said, 24 years since we won a game down there, so quite clearly it's not an easy place to go. But what I would say is, it's our best chance for a number of years of actually breaking that record. You know, they're a decent side, they've got match winners, but they're also poor at the back. The keeper's not convincing. And I think we can score goals there. We've got 3 or 4 players in that front positions who can score goals and cut you open. It's about taking opportunities. I remember last season we went down there and we should have been 3-0 up, and we come out second half, they score a worldie, Lacazette, we're chasing the game, and then they get an offside goal. So it'll be a very, very difficult game, make no mistakes about it, but it's a game that we can definitely win. And if not win, make sure we don't lose.
We've got to have some belief, haven't we? That's the thing. The first thing we've got to have with games like, you know, Man United the week after, Chelsea away, and then Liverpool. We've got to have belief we can win these games, and that's got to be the difference for me. I think you've seen that in you know, as you mentioned, they're going there last year. We felt like we could get it, and then they scored a couple of quick goals, and it's that once you go down, you've got to have that belief that you can come back, and hopefully the win at Watford has proved to some players that actually never out of games. You've got to have that hunger and that desire to get back into games, no matter what the score is. They're not over just because you've conceded, even if you're away from home. So I'm hoping there's been that change in mentality. It certainly feels like there has been, but obviously the proof's in the pudding. And the thing about it is, though, this is the thing with, like, Arsenal are behind us at the moment. Obviously if they win, they'll go above us, and that's got to be a big thing to make sure they don't win. But you got to look at it like that. We're the team in form when it comes to these. I mean, if you listen to anyone out there in the press, they'll be like probably waxing lyrical about how well Arsenal are doing, or how Arteta's doing, but Everton, I don't know. And that's not the case whatsoever. We know that we're the team in form, and hopefully with that confidence and with I mean, the break can work 2 ways, can't it? It can allow you to actually have a break and chill out and come back refreshed, or it can break up that momentum. You know, let's hope it doesn't break up the momentum. But obviously, last Sunday there was a behind closed doors into squad friendly, and we got Andre Gomez back on the pitch, and obviously Carlo Ancelotti's making all the right noises about him playing on Sunday. But can you really see that, Baz? Can you really see him starting the game?
Well, I mean, I would have said not a chance before Ancelotti's interview. Excuse me. Then I watched his interview yesterday, and he was like, well, he's in the squad and he'll start, because it's better than starting than coming off the bench, because they're more prepared to start than when you're a sub, when you've been out. But I don't know. I personally think it's too soon, but I don't watch him train every day. I don't know what he's looking like. I mean, I believe, you know, he wasn't amazing on Sunday in that game. You know, and at times he probably struggled a little bit, but that's only to be expected. And you've got to go through that to get your fitness back. But the little clips that Everton put out, you know, lovely passes, we put one great ball through to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, shifted the play right and left, both feet, had a good shot just over the bar. I know it's a training game, so I'm not saying he's back to best, but what he is he's got something we don't have from any other midfield player that we've got at the club. And that is an ability to keep the ball, control the ball, travel through the gears with the ball. He's got that strength to switch the play both sides. He can dictate the pace of a game. I don't think we've got that with any other midfielder. We've got lads who will compete. You know, we've got Tom Davies who tries to play it forward. Sigurdsson's got quality but no legs. Schneiderlin is good at one job, which is protecting. Delph is a little bit of bits and pieces of different people's games. We've got nobody like Gomez, stature or ability on the ball to protect the ball and to see a pass. So he is vitally important. You know, this is a player who, for me, would have played every game if he'd have been fit. You know, and I think the plan very much was Gbamin and Gomez for the season, wasn't it? That was the ideal, and we've been robbed of that. So it's great to see him back in contention. But I mean, what about you? Can you see him going straight back into that start?
What I think about is, though, the Crystal Palace game from last season, when he came back from injury and he was put straight back in, and he was quite commanding.
Yeah, he was good, wasn't he?
And at the end of the day, I think we look at it as fans and we've got no real idea. We've got no concept of it, have we? Because we're even now we're used to players coming back and thinking back to the, they need a couple of games and the resis and all this. But now they get them to such a level in training, and with it being a break, the break's healed. There's not this thing of we could get injured again. It's healed. They're fully satisfied. He'll have been signed off by any doctor. And it is about getting him fit. And if they think he's fit, I mean, how fit can you get a player to the point that he's fully fit? Do you know what I mean? You've got to maybe you've got to throw him in, get him on the grass. And I think the question for me is for Carlo Ancelotti, and I'll get your thoughts on this now, Steve, does he put him in and go, well, like you just said, what do I do? I've got to put him in because I need to have a look at him, because I want to look at him to see whether he's ready, because actually we're in the top half, we're doing all right. One player's not going to dictate the whole, but you know what, the positives massively outweigh the negatives. If he gets on the pitch and he's great and he gets through it through pure adrenaline, then it's a game of footy that he's just got an hour, let's say, an hour that he didn't already have. Whereas otherwise you'd just be sitting on the bench twiddling his thumbs thinking, well, I need another week of training. Where what he really needs is to be back in the environment of a footballer.
I think they'll know more as well by starting a game and coming on, because we don't know how the game's obviously going to pan out. There might come a point where we're making different kind of subs and he's not needed in the end. So I get why he would start him rather than bringing him on. And I think from starting a game you'll know more after the game whether he was ready or not. Where coming on for 20 minutes.
And the main thing is, it's not like he's a centre back.
No,
this is centre midfield where we've been crying about not having players available. The big question for me would be, if he did play, who would play alongside him? Because I think that's just as an important decision.
Alongside him.
See, I think he'd play Delph.
Yeah. We could play Delph.
But I do agree on form. Sneijderlin would probably...
Well, I'd just play Sneijderlin just for the protection, and then you're allowing him to get on the ball then. Whereas with Delph can be caught out of position, which means Gomez would have to do a little bit more. But I think that the thing... I understand what Ancelotti means, because if you're coming back from injury and you're a substitute, you sat on a bench and then the manager goes and needs you.
Yeah.
You're cold.
You start stretching and then you go on. You can get a muscle injury. I remember when I broke my leg and my first came back, the manager started me and I couldn't believe it. It was like
Dave Whelan then?
Yeah. I wasn't in the cup final, I broke it. But I remember he said, no, I want you to start, and I was like, yeah, alright. And I didn't suffer. I suffered mentally from the first couple of tackles, because you get up thinking, is it alright?
It's always the first tackle.
But the actual physical side of it, muscle wise and everything, it was fine, because you do your stretches, so the team prepares before the kick-off, so you're warm, you're ready to go together,
and you get into a game
exactly.
Whereas if you dropped in,
you're dropped in and the game's at a level, isn't it? And you see, that's why some people just can't be subs. Tom Davies is always better starting when he's dropped in, unless he gets put in like Duncan did up front and you can just run around. If he's in the middle of the park and he's cold, he struggles. So I think the thing with Gomez, like you just said, Steve, the manager will know more. It's worth sometimes putting him in. You can take him off at half time if he's really struggling. Take him off after half an hour if he's really struggling. Duncan's done it. But what you do is you put him in, you see how it goes. And if Everton, for all we know, we might be going, well, I'm going to give him an hour, see what he's like, because when we play United at home the week later, which is a game I think we're going to win, he'll be ready to play in that game. And Gomez just walking out, you just said it was a dislocation. They put it back in immediately. It didn't require surgery, but there was no cut. He was back in. He had a boot on. He was walking. He was on a bike within a week. I know he had the boot on, but he was doing this. So physically, he's fine. He'll strap up that ankle, and it's about him then going, like, it's his head now. Mentally, so you put him in a team, and the minute the adrenaline takes over in that game, you're playing the game. And if he comes off after an hour and he's done all right, he'll sit on the bench and go, I'm back. I was played a Premier League game, I'm back, my leg's great. We move forward with it, whereas the 20 minutes and the 15 minutes... Yeah,
you're not gonna learn much, are you, really? And I think it's different to, like you're saying there, about back in the 90s, they always used to say, the first tackle's so important. The Premier League's not really like that no more. It's not an over-physical... We're playing against an Arsenal team who aren't really an over-physical team either. I think it might be different if you're going away to I don't know, something like Shrewsbury away where the pitch might be Tranmere pitch.
Yeah.
You'd be a bit more.
Yeah. Well,
You've got to choose. You've got to choose your games, right?
No, it's a perfect game for him to come back and for a lot of things. And you're right. It's if he starts, it'll be I'm sure he can get up and down the pitch for an hour. On the ball, I'm sure he'll be fine. It'll be just that little thing. He's always had that good knack of hustling people off the ball without having to put tackles in, and he needs to be tackled though. Let's be clear, doesn't he? He needs the impact, doesn't he? But it's like when Seamus came back, though, isn't it? When Seamus came back, and we were all, completely bowled over by how well he did against Leicester, and then we didn't see him for a couple of weeks because actually his body reacted the way a lot of our bodies. We all know now. We do a little bit of exercise. We can't move for 3 days. God, you drink a beer. I can't move for 3 days nowadays, but. We know that, so we could have a reaction, but then that's natural. They'll be prepared for it, and then they'll know that how they need to set up.
Coleman was still doing full length sprints and step overs in the 94th minute, wasn't he?
Fully adrenaline up.
Different type of players as well.
He was just going through adrenaline. Afterwards, his body probably would have settled down and then reacted and gone, you're not doing that again for a couple of weeks.
Just relax.
Whereas, listen, listen, again.
We don't know.
We bow down to the experts, and they think he's ready. And listen, Carlo Ancelotti clearly can't wait to see this player on the pitch. He knows it's a player that could change this team. And if you get let's say he comes in and you're looking for an hour and you go, yeah, he didn't have a great game, but then if the manager turns around and go, he did have a great game because he's just had an hour of football, and now the next 3 games we'll get a bit more out of him, and his quality could get us over the edge in those games.
That's what I'm saying. You're putting him back in. He's getting that under his belt in the bank, as they say, and it is a case with him of he is different to any of our. He's a different profile to any of our midfielders, so it does make a big difference. And him coming back in, Arsenal will harry, press him and get in his, and that's good, and he'll do the same, and adrenaline takes over, and he's a key player for us, and the quicker you can get him back. Carlo Ancelotti isn't going to entertain. He allowed that Everton, the fella to ask the question, it was on Everton TV, he allowed that question to be asked, will he play, will he start? That was quite an intrusive question for a player who's coming back from an injury. The club doesn't normally do that, so that shows you.
The whole interview was set up for that, though.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Quite clearly, all the evidence they've got back from the medical staff, from Andre Gomes, from Carlo Ancelotti, will be he's ready to play.
Yeah, we're past those times, aren't we, of just throwing players in and seeing if it works. Yeah, it's a lot different now, sports science, and they wouldn't be putting them in if they weren't confident.
No. And he's probably chomping at the bit himself. He'd done his Instagram post, didn't he, with I'm looking forward.
He could be the difference, couldn't he, too?
Of course he could.
I'm not to put too much pressure on him, but
if he gets up to speed, Steve, and gets back to what we know, something like what we know he can do, he will be the difference, because we don't have anybody like him.
He mightn't be the difference in this game.
No,
he certainly could be
going forward.
No, I know, but he certainly could be the difference in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And again, that's where doing it in that way of, bit by bit, it doesn't always get the best results. They feel like he's physically fit now and can do the job, then let him go and do his job.
What do we do? The manager's more or less he's hopeful that Walcott will join back in, he said. Didn't look too convinced by it. What do we do with it? Because we haven't got anybody for that.
Sidibe.
Would you?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Play Sidibe on one side and Iwobi on the other.
Yeah.
No doubt.
No Bernard.
No, I wouldn't have Bernard for away games. I really wouldn't. I think Iwobi, this was a perfect game. Going back to his old ground as well, I think he'll have something to prove. I think that always comes into the consideration. I think Iwobi physically is a big lad. He's got something to prove though. And as I said, on the other side, what that allows you to do is have a little bit more course. Show you Dave Seamus in. Yeah. Because the only alternative is with Charlison and Moise Keane, and what about Iwobi off the right? No, I think we're trying to stick. No, I'm just we're trying to stick square pegs in. But it's just because that's an area where we are light, aren't we? We're light on the right hand side, aren't we? Sidibe's he's clearly the backup, isn't he, for the right winger? Coleman will come in,
and he'll look at Aubameyang, plays off the left, doesn't he, as well? And
he's quick, Sidibe. I know he gets caught, but he's also quick. He can recover. So and again, physical. He's a big lad, isn't he?
I'd go with Bernard instead of Iwobi on Sunday.
Would you really deny Iwobi though his homecoming?
I just don't. I've always had this thing. I don't like ex-players going back to their old teams and things, because it just, I don't know. I've always had that whether
it's too emotional for them or whatever.
And he's an Arsenal fan, and his family will still go to the Arsenal games. It's just, I don't know. I actually think it makes me think, will Ancelotti change his system on Sunday due to watching the game against who was the last home game? Palace, when he went to the 4-5-1, because he's seen how much we were getting overrun in midfield. I don't know if that it makes me think.
But Arsenal play more 4-3-3 though, don't they? So in the centre of the park, I think we'll be all right. Whereas the way I don't know. I mean, that's up to him, but I honestly.
I don't see him changing.
I can't see it changing it because I just don't think
it's working well.
And that's when he maybe
got 22 points from 33, haven't we?
He could do, but I don't think Ancelotti's the type of man to start games of football thinking about how the other team play. He'll do that during the game, and that's where. But he will adapt if he needs to. I just don't. Yeah. I don't look at Arsenal and think, oh, I'm terrified of Arsenal.
No, me neither. But it
certainly sounds like you are, Steve.
No, I'm not terrified. I just think
whimpering.
It worried. I get the impression it worried him a bit how weak we were in centre midfield.
No, we were, but that's credit. I thought
he made the change last.
He made the change because
after 65 minutes,
he scored and then he made the change.
But he's watching it. If he'd have been worried, he'd have done it early, wouldn't he? I think the way the game played out, I think he's the type of manager who worries about us. And then he'll see, and if it's quite obvious in the game, and that's great that he does that, he'll look and go, right, I'm going to do this, I need to change this up, because we're maybe losing this a little bit. He lets things, he says this himself, he lets things play out, but then obviously if it gets to the point where he thinks, we're losing this a little bit here, he will change it. So I think to be honest, 4-4-2 is what we will play.
I think he's a manager, I think he's also a manager that never thinks the game's gone. Do you know what I mean? Never thinks the game's gone, won or lost, because he knows that during the game things can change. We seen it at Man City, didn't we? We got Man City, we went 2-0 down, and then he made the change. And I know I criticised Silva a lot for that, but with him, he's more like he'll look at the whole picture and make those changes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, depending on who comes on. But no, I think he'll go 4-4-2 and just think, well, hang on, we're the team in form. Let them worry about us. Let them change their formation for us.
Do you think you've gone away from the days of playing Richarlison out wide? Do you think he's just
I think
he's top now?
I think he's up top. He might change during games. Yeah. I just don't think he'll start him. I just can't see it unless we've got. There's an option, of course, but I think he just looks like the kind of man who goes, he's my number one in that position and he's my number two. Yeah. And Sidibe's just number two on the right wing, so he'll play him.
I suppose he made the change, then he brought Sidibe on in the Palace game as well.
I think personally, if he's gonna, I don't say no, we won't put Richarlison wide in games because he might do, but I think that's more likely to happen at Goodison. I think because you put Moise Keane in, so I think you're more likely to play with the crowd with Richarlison on that right hand side. I think away.
Do you think he might play on Arsenal's weaknesses at the back though? Maybe?
Well, he will with two strikers. If you put two forwards up, Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, and you've got Moise Keane to come on.
I mean, if he played him on the right against Arsenal, I mean, that's what I mean.
I just think,
I just
the Walcott thing it'll be interesting what he does, but it probably will just be Sidibe, and it'll be let's get it up to Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, let's get people around them, and don't forget Sidibe puts a great ball in, so it'll be more likely the likes of a Wobie or whatever get in, or Bernard if he plays, get in round the back like you did in your last game, get in round the back because there'll be space there. So I think more likely that'll probably happen.
I think he just wants a team, and I don't know if you feel like clamming all your players into a team makes a team. I think that's where funny enough, I think that's where Arsenal have gone wrong a lot of times.
What I will say is though, Moise Keane will definitely get games before the end of the season. It won't be Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison every week. That's what I think. I think as we go through the game, Moise Keane will start games for Everton.
Oh yeah, 100%
this season, because he'll want him to, because he wants him to
develop. He'll just pick the right games. I was saying before about.
If you look at the last,
we've seen him with what he's done with Mason Holgate in the last game.
Yeah.
Like so he could just say to Dom, one game over Richarlison, just that.
Do you think he'll go back to Holgate and Mina?
No, he's got to. For me, got to.
Well,
with pace,
I would.
Got to. Movements and pace of Aubameyang, Lacazette. You can't go with Michael Keane.
You might as well just plant a tree.
It's okay if your plan is to sit on the edge of your box and not move and play the low block, then Keane's great, he'll let everything away for you. But if you're going to actually try and play and get up the pitch, then you can't leave Michael Keane exposed pace-wise. So I think Holgate will be back, and I think Keane will drop that.
Yeah, I think they'll be. I think they'll
could
be.
take Mina out, but I think it'll be
Keane. Could do anything
Don't do
mad
that,
like that.
Baz.
No, I think there'll be like 2 or 3, maybe 4 changes.
And of course, Mina's the threat off the set pieces as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know.
Mina starter. Yeah, he's the
So,
main centre back.
one, isn't he?
Yeah.
What's you just very quickly before we finish? Sport Pays estate, just very quickly on this. Happy to see it go, or not bothered, or
Not too bothered, and it's been coming, hasn't it? I think they've had a lot of problems as a company. I think in Ghana. I think I was reading yesterday. I think a lot of people knew this was coming, but it's just be nice to have a sponsor for the kids, I suppose.
Yeah.
That type of stuff, but yeah, it's just a sponsor and just try and make as much money out the next one.
That's it. That's kind of the thing, isn't it? It's great if everyone's happy with it, but ultimately, as we started the podcast talking about FFP, if that's still a consideration, we need that sponsor that's going to pay us a big load of money.
If we could get anyone to take any sponsor, if we could end up buying a player for 50 odd million, you know what I mean? So I'm not really.
Get a Facebook or something like that.
Amazon.
And Summers.
And Summers.
And Summers.
Yeah,
No, the kids, would they have that? Kids couldn't have Ann Summers, could they? They couldn't.
Imagine the away kids, though. Anyway, there you go.
On that note.
One to think about.
It is.
There you go. Thank you for listening to the Toffee TV podcast. You can find a video version of this on our Patreon if you want to go and check that out. Baz is waving for the purpose of the video.
Of the video.
So yeah, go and check that out. We've got loads of videos also on our YouTube page. Don't forget to subscribe. And thank you for listening. See you later.